Well, hey, kids, Thanksgiving is finally over, and so now Christmas has finally begun. I'm going to open up the old mailbag here and see our very first Christmas letter and what they have to say. All right. This one is from Jimmy. He's age 8, lives in Ohio. Let's see. Dear Santa, my father is a raging alcoholic and keeps beating me and my mother. My sister ran away to become a heroin junkie and potentially a prostitute on the streets of Cleveland. I'm curious if you have any movie recommendations for this Christmas season. Thank you, Jimmy. All right. What a wonderful letter, Jimmy. I do happen to have some good Christmas recommendations. Now, the key is there's a lot of people out there. One could call them words like idiots and total fuckfaces. But they're going to try to tell you that you need to watch a Christmas movie every single day of the next month. 25 Christmas movies from December 1st all the way up through Christmas Day. And that is wrong. You will oversaturate yourself with Christmas spirit and have a complete burnout long before you actually get to the day. The thing about Christmas spirit is you have to learn how to harness it properly and under the right circumstances. And so my particular recommendation is that there's only 5 times that you should be watching Christmas movies between now and Christmas, including the day of Christmas, and they have to be on very specific days and serve certain purposes. Now, the 5 movies I'm going to recommend are just 5 classics from my point of view, for my age range. You could follow along and do the same movies this year, and just if you want to make a tradition every year, just come up with different movies. There's literally a shit ton of them out there to choose from. But the days are important. Now, the very first Christmas movie you watch should be on Black Friday after you get back from shopping. The real obvious choice, and the one I'm going to recommend for this year, is that after you get back from doing your shopping tomorrow, you put on the Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, Jingle All the Way. This is a great movie. Came out in the late 90s, towards the very end of Schwarzenegger's peak years, before he started to kind of do his last few crappy movies before he moved on to becoming governor. It features Sinbad in one of his best comedic roles, and also one of the very last performances of the late, great Phil Hartman, who's famous from Saturday Night Live and News Radio. News Radio being where Joe Rogan came from. Now, the whole premise of the movie is Schwarzenegger is trying to go find this one super rare toy for his son at the last minute. For obvious reasons, it's a good movie to sync up with the themes of Black Friday and all that chaos. Now, the second day is not a specific day of the year because of the nature of how Thanksgiving falls. So what you want to do is the Sunday night after Thanksgiving, the very tail end of your 5 or 4 day Thanksgiving weekend, before you have to go back to work on Monday, you need to watch something sentimental to actually really kick in the mood, something to go along with putting up your Christmas decorations around your house, that sort of thing. And so this year, I'm going to recommend Scrooged. Scrooged specifically is a 1980s adaptation of the classic Christmas Carol about Ebenezer Scrooge. And this one is starring Bill Murray as a super powerful TV executive. The movie really still holds up pretty well, even down to the special effects. The comedy in it still works. The satire of television culture and powerful big money executives all still works out, and it still contains the classic Christmas Carol message of learning to be a better person and not be such a tight-fisted fuckwad all the time. So that will be your second movie to watch this Sunday. That leaves 3 more Christmas movies and 3 specific days. The first one is December 1st. December 1st is the day you're entering in the final plunge before the war. And you need to strengthen and bolster your Christmas spirit. And that's why I recommend The Grinch. There are several varieties of Grinch movies you can go with. There's the Jim Carrey one. There's the brand new CGI one. I myself am a sucker for the old classic cartoons. So that's the one I'm going to go with, the original animated How the Grinch Stole Christmas. 2 more movies to go. Christmas Eve. For obvious reasons, you want a nice, family-friendly, stay at home, warm and fuzzy memories if you're an older person kind of film. Something a bit more nicer, not so frantic, not so satirical, but still funny and fun. And this year, I'm going to recommend, just for the sake of the fact that we've discovered on YouTube in the last several months that Macaulay Culkin is still not only alive, but he's in surprisingly good health. I'm going to recommend this year on Christmas Eve watching Home Alone. Or Home Alone 2 if you want to see the Trump sequel. But I personally am myself, I'm going to go with the original Home Alone. So we can all learn how to keep the change, you filthy animals. And so that leaves the last movie, Christmas Day. You've already opened your toys. You may or may not have gotten to having your big Christmas ham yet. So what Christmas movie could you possibly want to watch on Christmas? It's finally over. Well, you don't want to be watching movies about Santa Claus and buying toys and all the build up to Christmas. All that is done. It's Christmas itself, which is why I recommend biting the bullet and watching an actual movie about Jesus Christ. You don't have to be a Christian, and that's why I'm recommending, as a non-Christian myself, Jesus Christ Superstar as the movie for this year. It's a wonderful mid-70s musical, well-performed, with lots of guerrilla filmmaking going on. It's an interesting time capsule in and of itself. Musically, it's great. And I think it's particularly noteworthy for its fantastic portrayals of both Judas and Pilate. And so that's it. There's your 2018 Christmas movies. From Santa himself to you, little Jimmy. Hopefully your dad's going to get into AA soon. Or maybe he'll get into a car accident. Then you and your mom can collect those fat insurance checks. And if you do manage to get hold of your sister, send her my way. I'll take care of her. So, anyway, y'all have a good night. Godspeed.